This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Today on CityCast Houston, early numbers are showing HISD has improved under state-appointed Superintendent Mike Miles. But who would fire him if student performance didn't improve? Plus, we have the latest on the city of Houston's multi-billion-dollar budget. And you won't believe what a vigilante is doing about car traffic in the Museum District. Dynamic media personality Antre'chelle Nova and Pulitzer Prize finalist Evan Mintz joined me to recap the week that was in H-Town. It's Friday, June 14th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Antre'chelle, Evan, happy Friday. How's everybody doing?
What's up? Happy Friday.
I'm doing great.
All right, let's start with this, Evan. It's our day coming up on Sunday. It's Father's Day. What are you doing? What do you want? What are your expectations? How are you going to celebrate, man?
Oh, man, I can't wait to get what every dad wants, which is to be left alone for like a few hours. Like, I'm going to get a few hours to myself. I may do some gardening. I may just nap. Like, who knows? I really can't wait. I am very much coming to the realization that I am a boring dad. I think at a certain point, everyone kind of becomes boring, and it's great. Like, TV panders to me now, like the media panders to me. They know that I'm like older and have money and they want me to buy things. And it's just wonderful. I am ruthlessly uncool. And also commercials speak to me personally.
There you go. I love that. How about you, Antre'chelle? What are you going to be doing for your husband?
What? Father's Day? What's that? No, seriously. Listen, I don't know. I asked him last night. I was like, yo, what you want to do? He was like, girl, what's going to change on Sunday? I'm still going to do all the cooking. I'm still going to keep all of y'all in line. How's that a day off for me? I was like, you want me to do it? He was like, girl, this house will be on fire. And he's right, because I am not that kind of woman.
Okay, there you go. A lot of things to do around the city of Houston. Make sure you check out our website. There's events up there as well. For me, I'm just going to go play some basketball on Sunday morning and enjoy that time away from everybody. Like you, Evan, that's what Dad really wants on Father's Day. So that's how we're going to celebrate, and it's totally fine. Evan, let's get to our biggest news of the week. You start us off because this is a huge one.
Oh, big news. Houston has a budget for another year. $7.3 billion. Anybody who's expecting a big fight out of this is going to be let down. Only 2 no votes from Councilmember Edward Pollard and Tiffany Thomas saying, we're not really bringing in enough tax revenue to cover our financial challenges. And that's true, but we can just kick the can for another year. What are the big things in this budget? We've got an extra class for police cadets down at the academy. That's pretty good stuff. City Council approved covering the back pay for firefighters in the ongoing deal with them. So that's just kind of closing the door on any issues around that. But City Controller Chris Hollins is withholding his office's certification of the deal looking forward. He said that he sent several questions to the mayor's office asking how all of this is going to work, asking how the specifics on firefighter raises will operate and other things. And he's saying the mayor hasn't answered his questions. So he can't approve this and say that it'll fit with the city's ability to pay until he gets these questions answered. So that's pretty interesting stuff going on. Also, something interesting in the budget that we haven't seen before. Councilmember Abby Kamen got funding for an assistant city attorney to serve as counsel for city council in their efforts to move ordinances, which they can now do under Prop A, that they couldn't do before. This really is turning council into a legislative body rather than just kind of an advisory one. And it's a major shift in the way that politics operates down at City Hall.
Evan, everyone's talking about the firefighters settlement and Chris Hollins not certifying it as you mentioned it. There's still a lot of questions to be answered according to his office. So what happens with this? What if he does not certify it or doesn't certify it in time? What happens?
Stuff like this happens every now and then. Under Mayor Turner, Controller Chris Brown didn't certify a deal about a new construction project at the airport because he had questions about the cost. Typically, any fights between the mayor and controller just have to get resolved one way or another. But if we don't get approval from the controller on this stuff, we could end up in real tricky territory.
Does this feel like politics, or is this truly Chris Holland saying, hey, I really need to make sure everything looks good before I certify this?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think the controller is right that there are some big open questions about how the specifics of this deal is going to work and how it was negotiated this whole way through. Like, we don't really have line of sight into this. And anyone who has a long memory of problems at City Hall knows that it's deals like this, boosts to pension and pay that can have consequences decades down the line that weren't foreseen because we didn't do our due diligence at the time. And I don't think we want to see another 20 or 30 years of taxpayers on the hook for a deal that we're going to spend that time saying, I can't believe we agreed to this. We could have gotten something better.
By the way, several council members suggested the proposed settlement be added to the ballot later this year, but Mayor John Whitmire dismissed the idea. This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out because Chris Hollins is not backing down right now. This is a huge thing. This is going to impact the city for up to 30 years.
Oh, yeah. And, whenever you have something like this, it's kind of frustrating to see the faces down at City Hall. Look at the ones who are older. Look at the ones who are younger. The younger ones are going to be paying this throughout their entire lives. The older ones, not necessarily. And I always try to keep that in mind when you see who is putting real scrutiny on it and who just seems to be chill.
I just always get concerned when people are making these hard stops when it comes to the betterment of our entire city. And that's just where I am like, guys, you said it best, Raheel, when you asked the question, what does it mean if we don't get this done? And I am just concerned. And I go back to my point. Is it for you? Or is this about the city? Are you just causing clash because you don't like the mayor or y'all getting into it? So I'm just hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. I don't know why I'm always so hopeful.
That's why we love you, Antre'chelle. Hope is a good thing. By the way, Evan, no additional fees, no taxes being raised here this year, but all signs are pointing to something happening next year because the budget is just not balanced right now.
I mean, the budget hasn't been balanced in a long, long time, and we've been able to get our way out of it with one-time revenue sources like selling city property or getting federal dollars. But at a certain point, you've got to make things match up, and you only have so many things you can cut, and you only have so many options to raise new revenue.
All right, I'm going to get to my biggest story real quickly. Last week, we discussed the improvement in STAR testing results in HISD high schools based on preliminary numbers, and well, now we have early numbers for elementary and middle school. And according to Asher Lair Small at the Houston Landing, he said Houston ISD students at dozens of overhauled elementary and middle schools posted above average growth on the state's leading standardized test this year, while the rest of the district narrowed the gap with students across the state. In the first year of the polarizing state takeover, the percentage of HISD elementary and middle schoolers scoring at meets grade level or above in math and reading increased in nearly every grade level, the numbers showed. The roughly 70 elementary and middle schools that saw major changes to teaching and learning this year under Superintendent Mike Miles' new education system outpaced the rest of the district in most categories. So this is a positive trend. In reading and math, they saw an average increase of 7 percentage points in the share of students scoring at or above grade level, while other schools saw a 1 percentage point increase. And one last point on performance. Mike Miles did a one-on-one interview with KHOU's Len Cannon earlier this week. And when asked if school performance doesn't improve, should Mike Miles be fired? And Miles said, yes, he should be, and that the board can do that. But remember, this is the same board that was put in place by Texas Education Commissioner Mike Morath, who is the same man who put Miles in charge. So that was an interesting, he said. And I was like, hold on. All right. So if you don't perform, or if the schools don't perform based on what you've put in place, who's going to fire you? The people that put you in charge. All right. We'll see how that works out. Y'all,
I got something to say about this. And y'all know I don't get in no business like this, but guess who's affected now? My child. So now I have something to say about these testings and things. And here Hear hear me good and hear me well, because the one thing I have always said since my only begotten son, has killed kindergarten, but these tests are not made for him. And let me tell you why. My son came into kindergarten reading on a third and fourth grade level at 4.5, 5 years old. When he took the same test for reading and math twice, when he took the test the first time, he was in the 98th percentile above the children in the state, both reading and math. Blew it out the water. When they took the test again at the end of the year, guess what it said? It said my son didn't have any growth. You know why? Because he already knew the stuff. So therefore, if the first test he missed 2, and then the next test he only missed 1, well, guess what? It made his numbers drop, which now the children who didn't know the things that my son knew in the beginning of the school year have now learned the things, are caught up to him. Their numbers are blown out of the water, right? So now my husband and I are like, wait a minute, this ain't adding up, because this ain't right. And this is not fair. So I have a little something to say about these tests. And I do think Mr. Mike need to go ahead and go on about his business, because this ain't fair.
Well, the good thing is that the numbers are improving for a majority of the students, right? Like your son is an outlier in this, and hopefully there are programs that will put him in a gifted and talented programs in a GT certification, and he will be challenged a little bit more. But the numbers are pointing to a positive trend, which is something that I know people don't want to hear when it comes to the new education system plan or anything that Superintendent Mike Miles has put in place. But these preliminary numbers are showing that there have been improvements.
We'll see. Let's look once again. I'm hopeful, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm hopeful, but skeptical a little bit. I mean, I'd like to see the data going back way further than just past few years. Is this a dead cat bounce where things just got so bad at some of these schools that anything is going to have an improvement? And really, unless you have like a randomized control trial, you pick half the kids, you don't give them the special instruction, and half the kids at these schools, you do give them the special instruction. It's hard to tell whether there's a causal relationship there. And also, this is a bigger question, but I'm always skeptical of what STAR is telling us. SAT scores, job placement, a college placement, these are kind of like the big picture things you're aiming for. Is STAR really reflective of that, or is this just the only data set we've got? And it's mostly the latter. And I'll take whatever we can get to try to measure a child's performance in these schools, but I don't know.
I always get excited when Evan and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I'm going. It's like, man, look, I agree. How are we really testing this? Shouldn't my son and the other 3 children who were already GT certified, should they have a different test so we can measure their progression? Or why are they being put in the same bucket as everybody else? Now, mind you, this is just kindergarten. How is that going to hinder him when he gets in high school, when he gets in 8th grade, when he gets to 3rd grade, when it's the big test, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to affect him and his peers who are GT certified? That's where I'm saying all of these children are not in the same bucket, baby. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not. And that's why STAR testing has been criticized so much. But again, going back to your point, Antre'chelle, about your son, right? That's why you're going to have AP classes. That's why you have gifted and talented programs where your son could enroll in and be a part of and learn a little bit more than his peers. And when that testing does start in 3rd grade, yes, they take the same tests. And this is just measuring all the students to see if they can get to the next level, if they are at that level for 4th grade, if you're taking in 3rd grade, like my daughter did. So that's why these tests are here. And again, there's so many issues with it, but those are the numbers that we have. And by the way, Evan, these are preliminary numbers again, and we'll get the full data set here later in the summer once everything is certified.
They're preliminary, and we can see what comes out of it. But I'm trying to figure out is, the higher a grade improvement in these NES schools a reflection of the new education system program, or is it just a reflection of if you start from a lower level, you have more room to grow versus other schools where they're already doing all right? So it's kind of hard to get higher from there.
Great point. We'll see all these numbers as they are released, and we'll compare it to all the other schools and within HISD as well. And I know Asher Small is so good at comparing numbers, so I'm sure he'll have a great story as well. All right, Antre'chelle, give me your biggest story.
10 short days ago, we found out as a city that Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She has also let us know that she will be occasionally absent from Congress, but she is assured that her district, it encompasses the part of Houston, her office will continue to deliver the vital constituent services that we deserve. I, for one, have been just floored because everybody knows I have not been the biggest Sheila Jackson Lee fan, but I'm highly concerned about her diagnosis, and I'm really praying that she pulls through this, right? The city of Houston came together as they held a prayer visual and praying for Sheila Jackson Lee at the Community of Faith Church with Minister Bishop Dixon, and everybody was there. I'm also concerned at the way this was announced. They did not state which stage this was in. And therefore, that even causes more concern for me because when it comes to cancer, y'all know cancer, it ain't nothing nice. So I really am concerned, especially at how everyone is handling this. Everybody is coming out and they're pretty much giving their well wishes to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee now. And I am just thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. And look, pancreatic cancer is no joke. No cancer is any joke, but Sheila Jackson Lee has defeated breast cancer before in 2012. So she has that fighting spirit. And, her administration is saying that, yeah, she is game for re-election. She is still going to be out there. She wants to serve her constituents and keep it going. So we are thinking about her and just, yeah, this is tough.
It's tough. But we are praying for you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I hope you get up and you fight this and then get back on my nerves, and then I'll be okay.
Houston's original neighborhood downtown is for everyone, and it's poppin'. It's our open-hearted home for our biggest celebrations and our treasured hidden gems. From the world-class theater district to incredible green spaces like Discovery Green, downtown is the place to be. In fact, more people visited downtown Houston last year than the entire population of Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, and San Antonio combined. There's no better time to live downtown than now. From starter apartments to luxury lofts, everyone can take advantage of the arts, business, culture, entertainment, food, and recreation. Now, you might think of downtown as only the heartbeat of Houston's regional economy, which it is, but there's so much more to it, including free events throughout the week with Downtown Houston Plus. From the summer trivia nights at Trebley Park to 713 Day at Market Square Park on July 13th, you can find something to do and eat and watch in downtown Houston. Learn more at downtownhouston.org. Downtown Houston, get energized and revived.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
All right, Evan, let's get to our most overlooked story of the week. What do you have?
I think the most overlooked story, I'm going back to City Hall again, is that City Council removed from the agenda a vote for new representatives on the Montrose TERS. That's the tax increment reinvestment zone that uses funky accounting to take property tax revenue and spend it on infrastructure improvements in the Montrose neighborhood. Now, the mayor has been fighting with the Montrose TERS over a couple things, including a plan to redo Montrose Boulevard that would expand sidewalks and add some much needed new drainage, and also a plan to move the Montrose Library that had been in the works forever into a new building out of the old decrepit one. So the mayor announced his plan to replace the TERS members who are at the end of their terms, which is absolutely his right. But then when he listed new names, folks started complaining that he didn't get input from the community, from civic clubs, even from council member Abby Kamen, who represents the area, which is pretty funny because on one hand, the mayor has been saying, well, this TERS isn't really representing the community. And then on the other hand, isn't getting input from the community when picking new board members. So to see the mayor not immediately get his way in our strong mayor system, no matter who that mayor is or what the issue is out of the ordinary. So that is something you should be paying attention to in this process.
Okay, Evan, so let me get this right. The mayor got rid of the board, and look, it was time for them to go up, right? Because they were extended by 6 months anyways because their term expired at the end of last year, and then put in a board that is more favorable to his decisions. Am I getting this right?
Well, it wasn't the entire board, just 4 of the members who were at the end of their terms. And the presumption is that the names that he listed would be more amenable to the things that he wants to happen. That's kind of the presumption that you'd make. But everyone's kind of freaking out about it. Like, Mayor, you didn't talk to us. We're the people in the neighborhood. And the whole point of these TERS boards is to provide benefits to the communities that they include. And so if folks in Montrose are like seeing names and going like, who the heck is that? Like, why'd you put them up there? Like, it definitely shows that there's a bigger issue going on.
Previously, how was this done? Would there be a community meeting and you discuss the board and nominees and then the mayor makes that decision?
Usually it's kind of like the president appointing judges. You know, they'll list their own names, but you're going to go through a process where you pick up the phone, you make a few phone calls, you figure out who it is that people want, get some ideas, and then put those folks forward. And it's almost always going to be your own political allies, but you find those names where folks go, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. And in this process, there really wasn't any communication with folks on the ground, is my understanding, going forward.
How will this impact the area financially?
Well, it's not going to have any impact right now. It's just getting those names on the board. But if we get folks on there who are going to block, say, the Montrose road and drainage project, like that's going to be a big deal because it's going to be a lot of money spent to improve Montrose. Or if you have a board that is going to spend money to preserve the Montrose Library, which ironically isn't actually inside the boundaries of the Montrose TERS, then you're going to see a lot of money spent on something that we didn't need to do before all of this controversy happened.
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Antre'chelle, let's get to your most overlooked story.
Listen, bird flu has been detected in Houston area wastewaters, but the public risk is low. I am concerned because why ain't nobody said nothing? And they kept this on the hush. And I guess because the public risk is low, but bird flu ain't nothing to play with. It has been found in wastewater samples from 9 Texas cities, including the greater Houston area. Now, you guys, the samples were just collected between March 1st and May 13th. That was like almost 30 days ago. Now, they say despite the findings, no human cases of H5N1, that's the bird flu case, y'all, have been reported in Harris County. And the source of the virus in the wastewater remains unknown. So they don't even know where it came from, okay? It is suspected that the most likely source is related to agricultural activities. Oh, I'm nervous. We just got coronavirus underway and now it's coming back and now we got to deal with the bird flu. Is monkeypox coming back too? Like, what's going on? And why is no one saying anything?
Well, Antre'chelle, here are 4 tips to help you avoid bird flu. Number 1, avoid exposure to sick or dead animals. This includes wild birds, poultry, other domesticated birds. So don't do that. Don't go touching dead animals, all right? Avoid exposure to animal waste. Stay away from animal poop, all right? That's another way. Avoid drinking raw milk. Pasteurization kills H5N1 viruses, making pasteurized milk safe for consumption. Raw milk, well, you don't want to mess with that. By the way, my brother loves raw milk, and we told him when I saw this, I was like, chill with that for a bit, please. All right, let's not get the bird flu. And then take precautions if you have job-related contact with animals, which I don't think you do, Antre'chelle. So I think you might be okay. But for our listeners who do, just be safe, please. All right, I'm going to get to my most overlooked story. Smart Asset released their list of the best job markets, and 3 Texas cities made the list. Houston, well, it missed the top 250. It came in at 272, but the 3rd best city in Texas in the top 25, the Woodlands. The study looked at a bunch of factors like unemployment rates, housing payments in comparison to median income, commute time, the percentage of remote workers, and more. And that put the Woodlands in the top 25 at number 22. Gil Staley, the chairman for the Woodlands Area Economic Development Partnership, told the Houston Chronicle that, quote, more commuters are now coming into the Woodlands than Woodlands workers heading to downtown Houston. Now, I always knew the Woodlands was a huge hub for jobs and careers, but did y'all know it was this good?
Yes, they rich out there. They can afford to be out there. Do you know how much money those houses are worth in the Woodlands? Do you see how beautiful it is? When was the last time you heard of any crime happening in the Woodlands? Like, what, child? That is the new oasis. When you get money, like real money, they not going to River Oaks no more, baby. They going to the Woodlands. They're trying to get away from us.
Man, in the Woodlands, by the way, you would need to make $91,000 to be considered middle income. And their median earnings for an individual are around $73,000, which ranks near the middle of that top 25 cities list. So, hey, Woodlands, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all are doing it. More people are heading into the Woodlands than workers heading to downtown Houston from the Woodlands. That is wild, Evan.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty skeptical about these results. This is a clickbait website. One of the categories is, the percent of people working from home in the neighborhood, as if that's a measure of like a good job market. I don't think so. And, there's crime all the time happening on Woodlands. People getting robbed at the Woodlands Mall. Crazy stuff happens out there. I stay out of the suburbs. I don't know what's going on out there. I don't trust it. I stay inside the loop. I think this is the best place to be.
Hey, come on out here to visit us in the suburbs every once in a while. Evan, come on.
No, that's like at the edge of the map. There be dragons out there.
And listen, I'm from the hood, Sunnyside, stand up, and I'm not trying to be in the Woodlands. I get uncomfortable because I am good in the hood, baby. Because when we want to go rob somebody, we go out there.
Oh, come on, Antre'chelle.
I ain't playing. It's like, baby, I get nervous out there. Like, baby, they finna get us in here.
All right, let's get to our moment of joy. Antre'chelle, start us off.
Oh my God, you guys, I don't know if you know it or not. I am a little macro influencer in Houston. Okay, I got a good little following on the TikTok and on Instagram. My following is really on Instagram, but I was invited to Wing Quarter Daiquiri and Creole Kitchen in Third Ward. They have rolled out their new menu, deep fried Creole crab cluster menu. And I got to taste it firsthand. And when I tell you, those crabs were divine. Normally, when I'm invited to a media or an influencer event to taste a restaurant menu, it's all right. But baby, this was good. The new menu releases this Saturday, June 15th. Go to Wing Quarter in Third Ward, and you have to try the deep fried Creole crab clusters, and they have 15 different flavors. Yes. Every which way you can try your wings, those are the same sauces that you can get on these deep fried crabs. And I had the tantalizing bourbon, and baby, when I tell you, I was just going crazy. They were so good. I was cracking them legs open, baby, because they were so good. So I'm highly recommending. Listen, it brought me so much joy.
So, Antre'chelle, do me a favor, all right? You just took the first bite. Recreate that reaction for me. Go, bite, and what did it sound like?
Well, it was like, because it's deep fried. So it's like the first thing you do is like normally when you crack a crab, you're looking for the meat, but it was deep fried, so it's breaded. So it was like so you tasting the bread, like you bite into it like some chicken, then you crack the leg, and then you get that meat. It's like, what is happening in my mouth right now?
And there's our quote of the week. Evan, let's get to you. What's your moment of joy?
Oh, my moment of joy came from reporting by Jay Jordan, Axios Houston, about vigilante safety happening in our city. Apparently, at the intersection of Binns and Chenevert in the Museum District, somebody on their own put up some stop signs. For years, community members and businesses in the area have been calling on the city to put up some stop signs at the busy intersection, and nothing had happened. And then last Saturday, someone just did it under cover of night by themselves. Nobody knows who. And so for a few days, people are looking at these stop signs and like, wait, are these real or not? They weren't sure if they were official, but the city said, nope, these aren't ours, and then went in and took them down. And I've got to say, I'd love to see some more of this. Let's put up some of our own bollards. Let's put down some stripes in places that need it. Like, we need some safer streets, and Houston is big. The city is struggling to cover it all. Let's get some of our own work out there to make a better city.
But wait, I have a question, Evan.
Yeah.
For the day or the 24 hours that the stop sign was up, was the traffic better?
I don't know, but I've got to say, let's get this in our minds. Sometimes slower traffic is worth it if it means a safer city. We got too many folks speeding out there, folks who aren't following the laws as they are written, and getting some signage out there to remind folks that you should stop at these intersections, that you need to go the speed limit, or what we need.
I love that in 2024, the vigilanteism is putting up stop signs. Like, what happened to the days of Batman?
Yeah. No, this is like modern day Batman under cover of darkness. Like, I am the night. I am the stop sign. Like, let's get some of that. That's like some cool
I love
stuff.
that this new Batman is going to pull up and go to the stop signs where you put them up, and they're not there. And he's like, where are the stop signs? Where are they?
And ladies and gentlemen, we are the new adults.
Okay, my moment of joy, because any news about Houston nationally is good news, right? Well, it was going to happen because it's on HBO, but the documentary series Ren Fair, which chronicles the power struggle at the Texas Renaissance Festival, has garnered national attention. It follows the founder and owner, King George, as he decides what to do with the festival. And yes, that's a nickname for the founder, George Coulomb. And now our little Houston tradition is being talked about across the nation on social media. The 3-part series has actually gotten a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really, really good. But listeners, Evan, Antre'chelle, I watched the first episode and it didn't hook me. I turned it off.
No.
And also, the festival released a statement distancing itself from the series. So have y'all watched it? Any thoughts on this yet?
No, I didn't know anything about it, but baby, I am pulling it up as we speak because it's like, what? The Renaissance Festival got some drama? Let me go watch
Somebody
it.
called it's Succession with kettle corn popcorn, which is so good. I love that. And it is. It sets up a takeover. It's a 3-part series. So, yeah, I wanted to bring it to the table. Evan, have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it yet. I've been following the reporting in the Houston Chronicle going back for a ways about the Renaissance Festival. And I'm a huge Ren Fest guy. I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd. I love my ye old foot-long margarita in the middle of November. But I haven't watched this yet. And I don't know if I want to face the reality of a place where you go to get away from reality, to go and indulge fantasy. Like, what's actually going on behind the scenes? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's like, I don't want to know what's in the sausages. I don't want to know where the turkey legs come from. I don't want to know whether all these tchotchkes I'm buying are just made in China and shipped over here. Don't tell me. I want to have a good time.
All right, that was a lot of fun. Antre'chelle, Evan, thank y'all so much.
All right, peace. Be easy. Happy Father's Day.
I'll see y'all next time.
That was Evan Mintz and Antre'chelle Nova. All the stories are linked in our show notes. That will do it for this week here on CityCast Houston. Our executive producer is Laura Eisensee. Our producers are Carleon Jones and Joyce Tan. Our newsletter editor is Brooke Lewis, and I'm your host, Raheel Ramzanali. Our music is by the band All the Kimonos. We'll be back on Monday talking about how a national holiday was born in Galveston. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.
My backup is rolling. I'm good. I'm gonna put some chapstick on my lips so I won't be crusty. I mean, I know it's just y'all, but I just don't want to be crusty while I'm talking.